15. So what we're gonna go over today is what Deuteronomy 15 dealing with is the release. I mean the 7 year, a year of release for the poor. So they got to do to those something to do with a lot of those Hebrew slaves that sold themselves to the brothers when they fell poor. And I think y'all read about that in Leviticus chapter 25. Um, it must be no letter of living, lending, or giving a Hebrew servant except he would not depart, must in the 7 year go for free and well furnished. So we're gonna deal with that too. Hebrew servant, he 7 year, you gotta go for free, and you gotta be well furnished. All firstling males of the cattle are to be sanctified unto the Lord. So that's what we're gonna read in Deuteronomy chapter 15. I don't see the comments. I don't know if the comments on or not. I don't see them, y'all. I don't know what somebody did before me, but it seemed like stuff had been changed. So, hey, I can't tell y'all what's going on. I can't see no comments or nothing. So, it is what it is. Hold on. Okay. All right, here we go. Deuteronomy chapter 15, verse 1. At the end of the 7 years, thou shalt make a release. And that's according to Leviticus chapter 25, verses 2 and verses 4. And this is a manner of the release. Every creditor that lendeth ought unto his neighbor shall release it. He shall not exact it of his neighbor or of his brother, because it is called the Lord's release. Of a foreigner thou mayest exact it again, but that which is thine with thy brother, thine hand shall release, save when there shall be no poor among you. For the Lord shall greatly bless thee in the land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee, for an inheritance to possess it. So this dealing with we going over the 7 year release. Only if thou carefully hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all these commandments which I command thee this day. For the Lord thy God bless thee as he promised thee. And thou shalt lend unto many nations, but thou shalt not borrow. And thou shalt reign over many nations, but thou shalt not reign over thee. That's according to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 12. The blessing that was to come upon us, but since we broke the commandments of God, of course, they lent to us. And we borrow from them. You know what I'm saying? We go to them for loans and things like that. So since we broke the commandments of God, we got to deal with the other nations and go to them in one of all things. Verse 7, if there be among you a poor man of one of thy brethren within any of thy gates, and thy land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not harden thy heart, nor shed thy hand from thy poor brother, but thou shalt open thy hand unto him, and shalt lend him sufficient for his need, and what which he wanted. So, it's a commandment to us to help our brothers. You know what I'm saying? You got to lend to your brother if he was in need. But verse 9, beware that there be not a thought in thy wicked heart, saying, the 7 year, the year release is at hand, and thy eye be evil against thy poor brother, and thou givest him naught, and he cry unto the Lord against thee, and it be sin unto thee. Thou shalt surely give him, and thy heart shall not be grieved when thou givest unto him, because that for this thing the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all thy works, and in all that thou puttest thy hand unto. Notice, man, Esau, they had this Bible. They had these commandments, they had these laws. Man, they worked us to death for over 400 years. You know what I'm saying? Then when they released us, hey, they didn't let us, we didn't go out with nothing. You know what I'm saying? For real. They had these commandments, they had these laws. But let's read on. It say, for the poor shall never cease out of the land. Therefore I command thee, saying, thou shalt open thy hand wide unto thy brother, to thy poor, and to thy needy in the land. And if thy brother and Hebrew man or an Hebrew woman be sold unto thee, and serve thee 6 years, then in the 7th year thou shalt let him free let him go free from thee. And when thou sendest him out from thee, thou shalt not lend him. Thou shalt not let him go away empty. So, hey, y'all know how when people be like, oh, well, it was slavery taking place in Africa. You know what I'm saying? It actually wasn't slavery. You know what I'm saying? It was people among us that fell poor. Remember, Christ said that too in Matthew chapter 6. I think not Matthew 6, Matthew 26:6, that the poor is always gonna be amongst us. The poor is always to be amongst us. All right, let's read on. So, hey, a lot of people talk about, hey, fighting poverty. We can't fight poverty because Christ said it's always going to be amongst us. Verse 13. And when thou sendest him out from thee, thou shalt not let him go away empty. Thou shalt furnish him liberally out of thy flock, and out of thy floor, and out of thy winepress, of that wherewith the Lord thy God hath blessed thee, thou shalt give unto him. And thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondman in the land of Egypt, and the Lord thy God redeemed thee. Therefore I command thee this thing today. And it shall be, if he shall say unto thee, I will not go away from thee, because he loved thee, and thy house, because he is well with thee, then thou shalt take an awl, and thrust it through his ear unto the door, and he shall be thy servant forever. And also unto thy maidservant thou shalt do likewise. It shall not seem hard unto thee when thou sendest him away free from thee, for he have been worth a double hired servant to thee, and serving thee 6 years. And the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all that thou doest. You see that? A double hired servant. So this let you, man, when reading this, make you think about slavery and how many years they had us in slavery. So we was doubled hired servants unto them. You know what I'm saying? And we still serve them even to this day. Where we at? I think we at verse 19. All the firstling males that come of thy herd and of thy flock, thou shalt sanctify unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt do no work with the firstling of thy bullock, nor sure the firstling of thy sheep. Thou shalt eat it before the Lord thy God year by year, in the place which the Lord shall choose, thou and thy household. And if there be any blemish therein, as if it be lame or blind, or have any ill blemish, thou shalt not sacrifice it unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt eat it within thy gates. The unclean and the clean person shall eat it alike, as the roebuck and as the hart. Only thou shalt not eat the blood thereof. Thou shalt pour it upon the ground as water. Okay, so we dealt with Deuteronomy chapter 15, and they had to do with going over the 7-year release. You know what I'm saying? We must lend to the poor, we must give to the poor. We dealt with the laws pertaining to a Hebrew servant, and it showed us how he should go out after he served his 7 years. He should go out with, basically he's supposed to leave blessed. You know what I'm saying? He's supposed to have, he's supposed to have some of your flock, some of your sheep. What else it says? Some of your wine, some of your oil. He must go out blessed, man. He can't go out poor. He can't go out the way he came in. You can't tell me God ain't a good God. You know what I'm saying? And he went over the firstling of the males of the cattle are to be sanctified to the Lord, meaning that them flocks, there wasn't to do no work at all. But there's to be sacrificed to God, and then you eat them. Okay, Deuteronomy chapter 16 and verse 1. Okay, Deuteronomy 16 is dealing with the feast of the Passover, the feast of weeks, the feast of tabernacles, and then dealing with the men coming and meeting for these 3 feasts. Is dealing with the judges and justice, and the groves and the images are forbidden. So that's what Deuteronomy chapter 16 dealing with. Observe the month of Abib and keep the Passover unto the Lord thy God. For in the month of Abib the Lord thy God brought thee forth out of Egypt by night. Thou shalt therefore sacrifice the Passover unto the Lord thy God of the flock and the herd in the place which the Lord should choose to place his name there. So he chose Jerusalem. Thou shalt eat no leavened bread with it. 7 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread therewith, even the bread of affliction. For thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt in haste, that thou mayest remember the day when thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt all the days of thy life. And there shall be no leavened bread seen with thee, and all thy coast 7 days. Neither shall there anything of the flesh which thou sacrificest the first day at even remain all night until the morning. Talking about the lamb. Thou mayest not sacrifice the Passover within any of the gates which the Lord thy God giveth thee, but at the place which the Lord thy God hath chose to place his name in. There thou shalt sacrifice the Passover at even, at the going down of the sun, at the season that thou camest forth out of Egypt. And thou shalt roast and eat it in the place which the Lord thy God shall choose, and thou shalt turn in the morning, and go into thy tents. 6 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread, and on the 7th day shall be a solemn assembly unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt do no work therein. So the first day of the Passover is a Sabbath, and the 7th day of the Passover is a Sabbath. 7 weeks shalt thou number unto thee. Begin to number the 7 weeks, from what such time as thou beginnest to put the sickle to the corn, according to Leviticus chapter 23, verse 15. And thou shalt keep the feast of weeks unto the Lord thy God with a tribute of a free will offering of thy hand, which thou shalt give unto the Lord thy God, according as the Lord thy God hath blessed thee. And thou shalt rejoice before the Lord thy God, thou and thy son, and thy daughter, and thy manservant, and thy maidservant, and the Levite that is within thy gates, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow that are among you, in the place which the Lord thy God hath chosen to place his name there. And thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondman in Egypt, and thou shalt observe to do these statutes. Thou shalt observe the Feast of Tabernacles 7 days. So remember, y'all, another name for the Feast of Weeks is the Feast of First Fruits. You got to count 7 weeks, then a day, that's 50 days. Pentecost, 50. Now we're dealing with tabernacles. Tabernacle. Thou shalt observe the Feast of Tabernacles 7 days. After that, thou hast gathered in thy corn and thy wine. And thou shalt rejoice in thy feast, thou and thy son and thy daughter, and thy manservant and thy maidservant, and the Levite, the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow that are within thy gates. 7 days shalt thou keep a solemn feast unto the Lord thy God in the place which the Lord shall choose. Because the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all thy increase, and in all thy work of thy hands. Therefore thou shalt surely rejoice. 3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before the Lord thy God in the place which he have chose. In the feast of unleavened bread, in the feast of weeks, and in the feast of tabernacles. And they shall not appear before the Lord empty, meaning they got to come with their sacrifices. Every man shall give as he is able, according to the blessing of the Lord thy God, which he hath given thee. Judges and officers shall thou make thee in all thy gates, which the Lord thy God giveth thee throughout thy tribes, and they shall judge the people with just judgment. So look, hey, y'all, ain't nothing new under the sun. So when you see judges and officers amongst us, just know that we following the things that's written within. Thou shalt not rest judgment, thou shalt not respect persons, neither take a gift. For a gift do blind the eyes of the wise and pervert the words of the righteous. That which is altogether just shalt thou follow. Just shalt thou follow, that thou mayest live and inherit the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not plant thee a grove of any trees near unto the altar of the Lord thy God, which thou shalt make thee. And then you got these pastors got Christmas trees in the church. Man, these pastors crazy as hell. Neither shalt thou set thee upon any image which the Lord thy God hated. Okay, so that was Deuteronomy chapter 16. We dealt with the Passover, the Feast of Weeks, the Feast of Tabernacles. Every male must offer as is able at these 3 feasts. We dealt with judges being set up and doing just judgment and justice, and how groves and images are forbidden. Okay, where we at? Deuteronomy chapter 17. So what we've had to go over now is the things sacrificed must be sound, meaning you can't it can't be without no blemish. Um we gonna deal with the law of idolatry, how idolaters must be killed. Hey man, we killed idolaters during the time of Moses. How if the hard controversies and the things that was hard for allowed us to judge, it must be determined by the priests and the judges. Um, the contemner of that determination must die. This is going through when basically you contending. We'll read it and the election and the duty of a king. We're gonna get the duty of a king too, and Deuteronomy chapter 17. Okay, Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 1. Thou shalt not sacrifice unto the Lord thy God any bullock or sheep wherein is blemish or any evil favoredness. For that is an abomination unto the Lord thy God. So you could have got put to death if you sacrifice um, a bullock or a sheep with blemish. You could get put to death for that, because back then, if you do something abominable, you got put to death for that. If there be found among you within any of thy gates, which the Lord thy God giveth thee, man or woman, that have wrought wickedness in the sight of the Lord thy God, and transgressing his covenant, and have gone to serve other gods, and worship them, either the sun or moon, or any of the host of heaven, which I have not commanded, and it be told thee, and thou hast heard of it, and inquired diligently, and behold, it be true, and the thing certain, that such abomination is wrought in Israel. Now notice, y'all, because a lot of y'all don't know how to apply Leviticus 5 and 1. The precept for Leviticus 5 and 1 is Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 4. That's the precept. Notice how he said, it be told to thee, or let us say if it ain't told to you, you seen it, or you heard of it, and you acquired diligently. So he said, now you got to inquire diligently, and behold, and it be true, and the thing be certain. So make sure that you certain of something before you bring somebody to judgment. All right, where we at? Verse 5. Then shalt thou bring forth that man or that woman, which have committed that wicked thing, unto thy gates, even that man or that woman, and shall stone them with stones till they die. At the mouth of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall he that is worthy of death be put to death. But at the mouth of 1 witness he shall not be put to death. The hands of the witnesses shall be first upon him to put him to death. Man, wait till we go back to this. What he said, the hands of the witnesses were going to be the first to lay them hands on you, for real. And afterward, the hands of all the people, so thou should put the evil away from among you. If there arise a matter too hard for thee in judgment, between blood and blood, between plea and plea, and between stroke and stroke, between matters of controversy within thy gates, then shalt thou arise and get thee up into the place which the Lord thy God shall choose. And thou shalt come unto the priests, the Levites, and to the judge that shall be in those days, and inquire, and they shall show thee the sentence of judgment. And thou shalt do according to the sentence which they of that place, which the Lord shall choose, shall show thee, and thou shalt observe to do according to all that they inform thee, according to the sentence of the law which they shall teach thee, and according to the judgment which they shall tell thee, thou shalt do. Thou shalt not decline from the sentence which they shall show thee, to the right hand nor to the left. And the man that would do presumptuously, and will not hearken unto the priest that standeth to minister there before the Lord thy God, or unto the judge, even that man shall die, and thou shalt put away the evil from Israel. And all the people shall hear and fear, and do no more presumptuously, when thou art come unto the land which the Lord thy God given thee, and shall possess it, and shall dwell therein, and shall say, I will set a king over me, like all the nations that are about me. Okay, y'all, let me read that again, verse 14. Okay, let me see. We reading Deuteronomy chapter 15 through 18. Let me read that again, because I put two scriptures together, verse 14. Okay, when thou art come unto the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, and shall possess it, and shall dwell therein, and shall say, I will set a king over me, like as all the nations that are about me. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God should choose. One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. But he shall not multiply horses to himself. So a king don't. So this was a law for a king that's to rule over Israel. He shouldn't multiply horses to himself. For as much as the Lord have said unto you, ye shall henceforth return no more. Ah, hold on, I jumped down, y'all. No, I'm right. But he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt, to the end that he should multiply horses. For as much as the Lord have said unto you, ye shall henceforth return no more that way, neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away, neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. So a king don't supposed to multiply wives to themselves neither. You hear a lot of these dudes calling themselves king. Hey king, king this and king that. Well, king, don't multiply wives to yourself. Because a lot of these dudes that say that, they be pushing their multiple wives. And it shall be when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write him a copy of this law in a book, out of that which is before the priests, the Levites. And it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear the Lord his God, to keep all the words of his law and these statutes to do them, that his heart be not lifted up above his brethren, and that he turn not aside from the commandment to the right hand or to the left, to the end that he may prolong his days in his kingdom, he and his children in the midst of Israel. Okay, so we just read Deuteronomy chapter 17, and we dealt with how your sacrifices, you just can't bring any type of sacrifice to God. It got to have no blemish. How the idolaters must be slain. And if we got any too, if you got any matters too hard amongst you, that you is to take the matters to the Levites and the priests and the judge that's appointed at that time. You know what I'm saying? And after they come forth, other judgment for the idolaters or anything, they must die. You know what I'm saying? Then we dealt with elections of kings and the duty of a king. Okay, so now we're going to Deuteronomy chapter 18. And what we're gonna deal with in Deuteronomy 18 is the Lord is the priest's inheritance. The Lord is the priest and the Levites' inheritance. The priest is due, meaning, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna go into the tent and also the things that's due to the priest. The Levites portion, we're gonna deal with the abominations of the nations that are to be avoided, the stuff that the nations was doing that we should avoid. When Christ is to return, he is to be heard. We is to hearken to him. We're gonna deal with that too, and we're gonna deal with the presumptuous prophets is to die. You know what I'm saying? The presumptuous prophets, they are to die. So now let's read Deuteronomy chapter 18, and let's start at verse 1. The priests, the Levites, and all the tribe of Levi shall have no part nor inheritance with Israel. They shall eat the offerings of the Lord made by fire, and his inheritance. Therefore shall they have no inheritance among their brethren. The Lord is their inheritance, as he hath said unto them. And this shall be the priest's due from the people, from them that offer a sacrifice, whether it be ox or sheep, and they shall give unto the priest the shoulder, and the two cheeks, and the maw. The first fruit also of thy corn, of thy wine, and of thy oil, and of the first of the fleece of thy sheep shalt thou give him. For the Lord thy God hath chosen him out of all thy tribes to stand to minister in the name of the Lord, him and his sons forever. And if a Levite come from any of thy gates out of all Israel, where he sojourned, and come with all the desire of his mind unto the place which the Lord shall choose, then he shall minister in the name of the Lord his God, as all his brethren, the Levites, do, which stand there before the Lord. They shall have like portions to eat, beside that which cometh of the sale of his patrimony. When thou art coming to the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that use divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consultant with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. So as y'all can see, like these things actually existed and they're all real. Wizards, necromancers, divination, observer times, what else? Wizards, all of that stuff is real. People that consult with familiar spirits, it's all real. Because if it was real, it wouldn't be in the Bible, and the Lord wouldn't tell us to do it. What is that, verse 12? For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Lord. And because of these abominations, the Lord thy God do drive them out from before thee. Thou shalt be perfect with the Lord thy God, meaning upright. That's what he's saying. We're supposed to be upright. For these nations which thou shalt possess, hearken unto observers of times, and unto diviners. But as for thee, the Lord thy God have not suffered thee so to do. The Lord thy God will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto me. Unto him you shall hearken. This is talking about Christ. According to all that thou desirest of the Lord thy God in Horeb, in the day of the assembly, saying, let me not hear again the voice of the Lord my God, neither let me see this great fire anymore that I die not. And the Lord said unto me, they have well spoken that which they have spoken. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him. So if we don't follow Christ, we don't do what Christ say, hey, you're going to get put to death. But the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, but that shall speak in the name of other gods, even their prophets should die. So all these pastors, a lot of them going to die because they're saying things and they're saying Christ said it, but the Lord ain't commanded Christ to say that. And Christ ain't telling them to say that, And if thou shalt say in thy heart, how shall we know the Lord? How shall we know the word which the Lord have not spoken? When a prophet speaking in the name of the Lord, if the thing followeth not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which the Lord have not spoken. But the prophet have spoken is presumptuously. Thou shalt not be afraid of him. So he must die. So with that, y'all, that's the readings. I'm not even finna play around. I'm gonna end it right here and there, cause it's TGIF. So y'all get ready. Deacon, y'all stopping to be on in the next 30 minutes, I think. The next 30 minutes or something like that. I think he come on in the next 30 minutes or at 4 o'clock. Matter of fact, it's prep day anyway, so I got a lot of stuff I got to do. But hey, all praise to the Most High. I was here to read today. So that was the read of Deuteronomy chapter 15 through 18. I pray and hope that y'all understand what those chapters about. With that, y'all, I'm not going to be on here too long. I think 30 minutes good. Hey, it ain't nothing but reading. So, hey, look, y'all stay focused. For a lot of y'all, I'm going to say, some of y'all that's out of the country, it's Sabbath time already. Happy Sabbath for y'all. Hey, for y'all brothers and sisters, y'all make sure y'all prepare. Lord's willing, for you brothers and sisters in Memphis, I'll see y'all tomorrow. I want to say shalom, Messiah, Christ bless. Give double honors to the Bishop Nathaniel. I want to give honors to our deacons, our captains, our officers, our soldiers, all you brothers and sisters that's helped pushing this truth. Hey, shalom, y'all stay focused. If you just tuned in, hey, rewind it back, listen to it again, listen to it over and over. I'm out. Shalom.